What was the true role of Storage Wars Barry Weiss? He had many fans and a distinct style, but all of a sudden he was gone. Not even a farewell, they simply vanished from our laptops. However, the truth regarding his sudden disappearance is not simple. Barry's story is not as simple as you may think. He has experienced serious health issues and made decisions behind the scenes that even his coworkers were astonished by. Come along with us as we uncover the owner's true fate. Barry Weiss was already establishing a kingdom in the produce industry, which was a completely different industry, but millions of people fell in love with him as the quirky and humorous treasure hunter on Storage Wars. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. And hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Now, back to the topic. What we were talking about was, for over 2 decades, Barry and his brother continued a family legacy started by his grandpa by working in the wholesale fruit and vegetable industry. In addition to doing well, the company made a lot of money. Barry's affluence allowed him to bid on storage facilities for pleasure rather than need. The produce empire allowed Barry to be completely financially independent, something that most reality TV stars never achieve. Barry had enough money to keep the cool stuff he found rather than selling it to make money, whereas other Storage Wars cast members were desperately attempting to make ends meet by selling the items they won at auction. One of the things that set him apart on the show was this fundamental difference in his motivations. But it wasn't all fruits and vegetables in Barry's life before TV. For much longer than most people realize, Barry has been associated with theater and fascinating people. In an unexpected turn of events, Barry appeared with Jesse James, the well-known motorcycle manufacturer and former Sandra Bullock spouse, on the Discovery Channel program Motorbike Mania 3. This connection is made even more intriguing by the fact that Barry is the uncle of Jesse James. This association demonstrates Barry's long-standing interest in motorbikes and custom automobiles, which would eventually play a significant role in his TV persona. The characters were fortunate for AME when they launched Storage Wars in 2010 since each one brought something unique to the series. Dave Hester made a scene because he was upset. Jared Schultz and Brandy Piantai give life to the straightforward couple dynamic. Additionally, Daryl Sheets contributed the sober, business-like purchasing mindset. But Barry Weiss contributed something entirely different. In addition to being entertaining and erratic, he brought a genuine passion for hunting that was unrelated to profit. From the moment he arrived, Barry stood out like a peacock amid pigeons. Other buyers would arrive in work clothes and utilitarian cars, but Barry would arrive in anything from custom motorbikes to antique hot rods, always sporting eye-catching sunglasses, leather jackets, and odd t-shirts. People would watch his renowned entrances only to see what strange car he would arrive in next. Barry appeared in one of the most well-known episodes in a convertible that had been painted to resemble a watermelon, replete with seeds. In another, he arrived in an ancient hearse adorned with skulls and crossbones. The Collector wasn't just a playful moniker. Barry's strategy for playing the storage auction game was excellently described. Barry spotted potential additions to his already extensive collection of oddities, antiques, and old objects. In contrast, his rivals saw dollar signs in every box. He frequently had an advantage in spotting valuable artifacts that others might overlook because of his extensive knowledge of collectibles. More significantly, though, it genuinely thrilled him about the process of discovery. In addition to his pricey automobiles and clothing, Barry's wealth was evident in the manner he placed bids. Because he was intrigued, he would frequently bid on units that other owners believed were too risky or wouldn't generate any revenue. In a noteworthy occasion, Barry received a unit primarily consisting of used books and paper items, which are typically not purchased by other purchasers due to their low market value and difficulty in selling. Collectors would shell out thousands of dollars for the rare first-edition books and vintage periodicals that Barry discovered. His competitors scoffed at what they perceived to be a pointless bid. Barry was truly thrilled about the unexpected, which is why his approach was so unique. He discovered a unit full of what appeared to be rubbish from someone's garage, including crates of various items, old tools, and random auto parts, in another well-known episode. Barry was ecstatic to discover a rare vintage motorbike engine buried among all the other items, but other buyers might have been disappointed. The engine, which initially appeared to be scrap metal, was from a 1940s Indian motorcycle and was worth more than Barry spent for the entire thing. Barry's interactions with other cast members frequently produced some of the show's funniest moments. His easygoing demeanor and seeming affluence occasionally irritated people like Dave Hester, who took the business aspect of storage auctions very seriously. Dave said that Barry was raising rates without justification since he didn't need the additional cash during a heated dispute. With his typical sense of humor, Barry responded by advising Dave to try to enjoy the process more and to avoid viewing it as a race for his life. The interactions Barry had with married couple Jared and Brandy were among the most fascinating to observe. Barry talked about saving items worth hundreds or thousands of dollars because he liked them, even though they didn't always produce a lot of money. Although this methodological difference occasionally led to conflict, it also benefited everyone since Barry would frequently instruct his other purchasers on the background and worth of various collections. The departure of Dave Hester and Barry Weiss from Storage Wars during Season 4 marked a significant turning point for the program. Many issues and legal disputes with the network resulted after Dave's departure. However, Barry's departure went much more smoothly and was based largely on his own decision to pursue other endeavors. Given that the show's directors repeatedly attempted to recast Barry in various capacities over the years, it is clear that Barry was significant to them. Because Barry was divided about Storage Wars and didn't enjoy the show, he didn't resign. In actuality, it demonstrated his desire to return to what he jokingly referred to as professional slacking, a lifestyle made feasible by his wealth prior to his rise to fame on television. Barry informed reporters that he had completed his goals for the show and preferred to depart while it was still successful and well-liked rather than lingering too long and jeopardizing his positive relationship with the network and the viewers. It was immediately apparent that Storage Wars was impacted by Barry's departure. Many viewers thought that something significant was missing without Barry's distinct energy and style, even though the show continued with the rest of the cast and added new characters. Since no one else on the cast shared his wealth, expertise, sense of humor, and genuine passion for the treasure hunting aspect of storage auctions, his absence created a void that was difficult to fill. Barry's grown children, Jack and Julie, have surprisingly been very supportive of his TV profession. They have embraced his celebrity and frequently expressed their pride in his accomplishments rather than feeling ashamed of his peculiar performing technique. Interviews reveal that Barry's children take pleasure in the attention he receives from his fame and watching their father pursue a passion that is unusual for someone his age. The success of Storage Wars allowed Barry to pursue additional TV positions. Soon after he quit the main show, a spin-off program called Buried Treasure was created as a result. Barry may do more than simply storage auctions with this new show. He could pursue his interests in unusual autos, collectibles, and antiques. The format of the show allowed viewers to follow Barry on his travels across the nation and get to know him better. For Buried Treasure, Barry visited private collections, estate sales, and antique stores across the United States, revealing another aspect of his collecting passion. Barry was instructed by the show's creators to go around in unconventional ways, which resulted in some memorable episodes when he drove in anything from vintage motorcycles to specially designed cars. Barry rode a horse-drawn buggy across Amish country in a highly entertaining episode, learning about the Amish way of life and searching for traditional handcrafted products. Barry was able to reconnect with some of his former Storage Wars colleagues in cameos on the spin-off. This provided a sense of continuity for viewers who missed the interactions between the original cast members. Even though Barry and his former co-stars were now in separate professions, their reunions frequently constituted some of the show's greatest moments. Buried Treasure struggled to attract the same audience that enjoyed Storage Wars, despite its creative potential and Barry's excellent hosting. The competitive edge and unpredictable results that make storage auctions so captivating to watch were absent from the show, despite its intriguing format. For the first time in many years, Barry was left without a regular TV program when the network decided not to renew the show after just 8 episodes. Barry's public life became less active after Buried Treasure was rejected. He continued to collect items and maintained his many contacts in the world of antiques and collectibles, but he largely avoided the spotlight that had enveloped him during the Storage Wars years. He was able to devote more time to his own interests and family, particularly his grandson Jack, who had become a significant part of his life. Barry's comparatively peaceful retirement from television was upended in April 2019 by a horrific motorcycle accident that would alter the course of his life. One of Barry's favorite recreational activities is riding his motorcycle with his friend Jamie Robinson, which is when the tragedy occurred. According to reports, Barry and his friend were hit by a car that unexpectedly pulled out of a parking space and into their path, leaving them with no time to flee. The collision caused serious injuries to Barry's legs and chest, including internal damage and multiple shattered bones that required immediate medical attention. The impact was so severe that Barry had to spend 2 months in the hospital. While medical professionals tried to heal his numerous wounds and rehabilitate his condition, he spent the majority of that time in the intensive care unit. The healing process was quite painful and took a long time. I needed a lot of physical therapy and multiple operations. Social media began spreading rumors that Barry had passed away from his wounds while he was in the hospital. These untrue rumors were swiftly disseminated by fans and gossip websites, which greatly stressed out Storage Wars viewers who had been following Barry's work for years. Barry's recovery took a long time and was difficult for many people to comprehend. In addition to negatively impacting his health, the accident also made it more difficult for him to engage in many of the activities that had given his life purpose for many years. His favorite pastime and a frequent feature on his TV shows had been riding a motorcycle, but he was unable to do so throughout his recuperation and continued to be unable to do so after leaving the hospital. After the accident, Barry's perspective on risk-taking and enthusiasm shifted. Although he was renowned for being adventurous and willing to try new things, the near-death experience caused him to reconsider his objectives and alter his lifestyle. During his recovery, Barry maintained his underlying optimism and sense of fun, according to friends and family, but he also became more cautious and mindful about his actions. Following his recovery, Barry's relationship with the Storage Wars series took a surprising new turn with the release of Storage Wars, Barry Strikes Back. There was something new about this spin-off. In addition to discussing and providing behind-the-scenes material, Barry and his friend Kenny Crossley watched old episodes of the original series together. Barry was able to share experiences and viewpoints that people had never heard before because the show was essentially a reaction show. Although Barry Strikes Back fans were happy to see their favorite treasure hunter return, the episode received criticism for feeling more like a rehashing of previous content than a truly original production. Although occasionally humorous, many viewers felt that the commentary style failed to convey the excitement and unpredictable nature that made Barry's initial Storage Wars performances so captivating. It was also more difficult for Barry to showcase his personality and expertise in novel ways because the show relied on outdated footage. The composition of Barry Strikes Back also demonstrated Barry's transformation since the first Storage Wars. Though his physical limits from the injury were occasionally evident, he nonetheless maintained his intelligence and sense of humor, and his vitality seemed to have diminished from his earlier TV appearances. Some admirers struggled to adjust to the new period in Barry's life and work, even though these changes weren't necessarily negative. Another blow to Barry's hopes of continuing to appear on television on a regular basis came with the cancellation of the show Barry Strikes Back after just 10 episodes. The show's failure appeared to demonstrate that lightning doesn't strike twice in the same spot and that reviving the magic of Storage Wars was more difficult than anyone had anticipated. The cancellation marked yet another turning point in Barry's evolving relationship with fame and television. Despite numerous changes and setbacks at his TV work, Barry has continued to pursue his passion for motorcycles and vintage automobiles. He stated in a 2017 interview that he hoped to create shows that combined his passion for two- and four-wheeled vehicles with his travelogues. By concentrating on how they managed transportation and created items in their own distinctive ways, he hoped to gain knowledge about other cultures and communities worldwide. Barry is far more knowledgeable about bikes and vintage cars than the majority of Storage Wars viewers have ever seen. He is well versed in everything from vintage American muscle automobiles to rare European motorcycles. Additionally, he maintains connections with auto enthusiasts, builders, and collectors worldwide. He's been able to participate in events, shows, and private sales thanks to this network of contacts, which keeps him engaged in his pastime even when he's not on television. Barry's relationship with his grandson Jack has become increasingly significant in his life, particularly because he no longer puts as much effort into regular TV shows. Barry frequently expresses how much he enjoys hanging out with Jack and watching him mature. It's among the nicest things in his life at the moment, he claims. Barry's relationship with his grandfather has altered his perspective on priorities and his time and energy allocation. Although Barry has been well known for a while, nothing is known about his personal life. He chose to remain single after being divorced for over 30 years, and when people inquire about his romantic life, he frequently responds by joking that he has plenty to do. His decision to prioritize his collecting interests, family ties, and personal autonomy over romantic connections reflects his overall way of living. Putting his own happiness and fulfillment ahead of what others might consider his proper course of action. Due to his wealth from his fruit business, Barry is able to make decisions based on his happiness rather than what will increase his profits. While many Storage Wars supporters have applauded his independence, others have argued that it was unjust because he was wealthier than the other contestants. However, Barry has consistently responded to this type of criticism by claiming that his behavior brought something fresh to the show that viewers enjoyed and that he was only on it for enjoyment and not to earn money. Barry's approach to collecting has been consistent throughout his career. He has always maintained his stance that he should save intriguing items rather than sell them for cash, since he is more interested in their history than their current value. This mindset has enabled me to amass a sizable collection of items that most people would never consider collecting, such as vintage automobiles and motorcycles, as well as uncommon antiques and odd items of interest. The world of storage auctions has evolved significantly since Barry's initial Storage Wars. Finding valuable items has become more difficult for newcomers due to more competition, higher pricing, and more astute purchasers. There wasn't much competition and storage sales weren't very popular when Barry first achieved popularity on the show. The market altered as a result of Storage Wars' size, making Barry's laid-back approach less helpful for newbies. After being absent from Storage Wars for nearly 10 years, Barry shocked everyone by returning for the show's 14th season. He arranged his comeback to have the biggest impact possible. Excitement was heightened by teasers and other marketing materials that emphasized his reappearance. The marketing campaign thrilled ardent followers who had never lost hope that Barry would return to action. One thing about Barry Weiss is certain: he stands for something that reality TV is starting to lose. Someone who remained loyal to himself throughout his career. Whether he was sharing his knowledge of antiques, driving expensive automobiles to storage auctions, or recovering from serious injuries, Barry has always approached life with humor, strength, and sincere passion. Fans continue to be curious about where his travels might take him as they continue to take unexpected twists. Are you as fond of Barry as we are? Which Storage Wars scene is your favorite? Let us know in the comments. Remember to hit the bell, like, and follow to ensure you don't miss any more behind-the-scenes glimpses of reality TV.